Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is BGFH, and I am back for another iOS app video. I haven't done one of these in a while either, and this time I'm actually going to be revisiting one of my favorite apps on iOS. Has been one of my favorite apps for quite some time, and just every time I think that it can't get any better, it does. It totally does, and it is totally worth every penny. We are going to be revisiting Voice Dream Reader. The reason we are doing this is because as of, today, as I'm recording this anyway, Voice Dream Reader 4.0 is officially available in the App Store. It is a major update to the app, and I have been actually kind of working on it a little bit in the background for a little while, helping out with the beta. But it is available for everybody now. If you already own Voice Dream Reader, it is a free update. And if you don't own Voice Dream Reader, because of all the work that he's put into it, shout out to Winston Chen, the developer of this excellent app. Winston Chen, he's the developer, and he's been just cranking away at this. We have Voice Dream Reader, Voice Dream Writer, Voice Dream Mail. He's just made a really nice suite of applications for iOS and Android, and I would say Reader is probably by far the most recognized and most probably widely used. I know I use it constantly, so I want to take you through some of the the new version, and just like I said, definitely recommend this app totally. But yeah, it's just Winston did an excellent job with this. So shout out to him. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go to CSUN this year. Otherwise, would have maybe looked you up. Got to meet Winston last year though, which is really cool. Yeah. So, Voice Dream Reader, let's open it up. I do have VoiceOver running. We are running it on my iPad Pro here.
App Switcher. Voice Dream. Active.
We're going to open up Voice Dream.
Voice Dream. Add button.
Now, if you are familiar with the app, I'm going to kind of try to do this from both perspectives of a new user and an existing user. What I will say is one of my favorite features of this new app, one of the 2 or 3 main favorite features that I love, is if you had used a previous version of Voice Dream Reader, you know that you could choose your visual theme, so you could have the white background and black text like it was by default. You could have it, like a dark background and light text like I have here, or you could have like a custom kind of a combination. Now, in the old version, the only thing that was actually that honored those color schemes and other visual enhancements or visual settings was the book itself, which is great. But if you open up a settings dialog, or if you are in kind of the library list of books or files that you have in the app, that was still kind of the regular white text. So thankfully, in the new version, now we have, it honors the visual settings throughout the whole app, so which is really great. I mean, honestly, I know a lot of Amazon apps do this, like Amazon Video, Amazon Music, TomTom, the GPS app. There's several apps that I can think of that actually have a dark mode. It doesn't have to be black. I kind of like this actual kind of a gray. It's almost like the gray that you would use in that you see in Steam as well. But I just, it's not too dark. But it has this nice, like I said, dark background. It's just much easier on the eyes, especially in a low light setting, where most of the time, in my apartment, I'm lucky if I have a light or two on in the apartment. I just bask in the glow of the radiation of my monitor, and maybe a light here and there, but usually the monitor is about it. So when you turn the screen on in a dark room, it's just like, oh dear God, you have that black background. It's really harsh, so kudos on the full dark background theme. So going through I'm just going to quickly run through the interface really quickly. On the upper left,
Add button.
I have an add button. We'll get there. That's where we can add some data or some files to read or listen to in the app.
Filter. BOFH button.
Now, filter. This is kind of like where you're the top middle of your screen, the title, kind of like your title bar. And this actually threw me off for a minute or two. Well, okay, quite a bit longer than that, actually. Before, in the old app, you had a separate button. I don't even remember what it was called now because I've gotten so used to this. But you basically had a button where you could select the folder that you wanted because you could organize your content into folders. And I had several different ones for, I had a podcast folder for audio. I had like a Bookshare folder for those books. I had a tech and gaming folder for those types of stuff. You can do whatever you want with it. But we're going to come back to that too.
Edit button.
In the upper right, you have your typical edit, and that's just like your iOS edit where you can check and uncheck and then perform actions on things. So not going to go through that at all. And then you have the main body of your window.
BOFH 2007. BOF 2005.
And these
1
are
hour,
just some
19
files.
minutes,
Right now I have just a straight up and down, like a vertical list of all my books or all of my content in this folder. Let's go down to the bottom of the screen.
Sort order button.
Sort order. This is pretty cool. Let's do that right now just because we are in a library view.
Sort order heading.
So the little box comes up, and it's really cool. Like I like this because I can sort by
Open date. Selected. Add date. Open date.
open date,
Selected. Add date.
add date,
Title.
title,
Author. Author. Manual.
off, and manual. Not quite sure what manual does, but you have a lot of different
Add
ways
button.
to sort the current folder or library view that you're in.
Grid view button. 1 of 2.
Now you have two different views that you can do. I have the list view, which I'm on right now, but I also can.
Grid view button. 1 of 2. Selected.
Let's do grid
view.
view.
1 of 2.
Boom. So right now it doesn't really look like much because these are just straight up text files that I dumped in here because I just put this on pretty much every device just so if I need a quick fix of something amusing to read, these are great. BOFH, the bastard operator from hell, the variant of where we get BGFH. Yes, if you haven't heard on one of my prior videos, that is kind of a spin-off of where I got the whole BGFH thing. So yes, the BOFH files. These are just straight up text files, but if you had like an EPUB book or you imported something like a PDF, you might see the cover page of it. If you had some kind of a book that actually had a cover, you would get to see those types of things. So it looks like a nice grid. So for low vision or dyslexic users, that's a really good thing. I should mention that, like I said, this app is not just for visually impaired users. We are one of a few groups that they're targeting with this app. I mean, you can look at it for blind and low vision, learning disabled users, or special education. You could look at it for, like I said, dyslexic users who find it easier to have things read aloud as they read them. They have different things for like people who are just learning to read. So there's a lot of use for this, not just for our community, but it's just there's so many ways it can be used. It's really great. So now I have this grid and I can just touch.
BOFH 2007. BOF
I'm just sliding
2005.
my finger to the right
1
here,
hour. BOF 2004.
and I have these giant, giant tiles. I'm going to go back to list because I like
List
list.
view button. 2 of 2.
I
Selected.
think on the
List view.
iPad it
2
makes
of-
more sense to have the grid view, and then on the phone because you have generally a smaller screen and more of a vertical screen. I think that it makes more sense maybe to have it in the list view like we have here, and then you have
Settings button.
your settings. Let's and then in the very lower right,
Now reading button.
you have a now reading button. So that'll just pop you when you open up the app. Even if you were in a book, like let's say you come back to it a few hours later or whatever, after you've been doing stuff, you may not pop you right back into the book you were reading. It might just pop you back to the main library screen. All you got to do is go to the lower right of the window, hit your now reading, you're back in your book, hit play, boom, you're good to go. So if I go to settings,
Settings button. Settings heading.
Again, we get a little dialogue here, and there's a lot of cool stuff here.
Repair library button.
Repair library, this is if you want it to kind of resync and kind of just check out what's going on with your library. Haven't had to really do that.
Content sources button.
Contents, oh wait.
Cloud sync button.
Okay, I actually accidentally skipped that. This is the feature that I was most excited for in version 4.0. I have actually written once or twice when I'm doing testing or when I've just submitted some feedback on the app to Winston. That, and I guess he's heard it from a lot of people too, is that, a lot of people have wanted the ability, some people have a tablet, they have a phone, they have multiple devices, and using the iCloud service, now we have everything in the cloud, and we can sync not only our books and folder structure, but we can sync where we actually are in the book, and I have tested this. It does work. I was playing with it on my tablet at work today and reading around in a book, and then I'm like, I was kind of getting into this. Let's read it on my phone on my bus trip home. So I whipped out my phone, opened up the app, went into the book, and went, oh, okay, yep, boom, here we are, right in the same position. So it's really nice. So if I download a book in one device, it'll be in the other device. If I remove the app or get a new device, as long as I still have it up in the cloud, boom, it doesn't matter. I can still, when I upgrade to the iPhone 7 probably later this year, I'll just go to the cloud or download the app, tell it to turn on the cloud sync, and boom, we're back in it. All my stuff, all my books, and all my progress is going to be right there, which is fantastic. And originally, it's interesting because when we were originally testing, he was going to actually make that a premium feature. The app costs $10 right now, but in about 2 weeks, I think, as he said, that's why I'm going to try to update this video as soon as I can. In about 2 weeks from now, he's going to be upping the price to $15, just because of all the work he's put into it and some of the extra things that he's had to do to make things work. And I know to the people that are going to be complaining, okay, then get the app now while it's still $10. But even if you don't, $15 is a steal. I would gladly have paid a brand new $15 just to get the version 4.0 app, because like I said, I want to support development of this app and just the voice stream apps in general, and they're just really good. They are absolutely worth every penny. $15 even is a steal, so no problem there. So that's your cloud sync, which I've turned on.
Repair library
Repair
button.
library.
Content sources button.
Content sources. Let's pop in here for just a second.
Content sources heading.
Now we get a pop-up in the middle of the screen. Now this is kind of cool because now here's the flexibility of this app. Now I mainly use this for reading Bookshare books because you can sign in with your Bookshare account, and I think I demoed that in my earlier video.
Cloud storage iOS.
But we can pull it in. Here's where we can, and all of these have on-off switches. So when we go up to the add button in the upper right in a little bit, or on the upper left in a little bit, you can choose what you want to see right in that shortcut menu of the sources where you want to add something from, add a source. So we can pull in from basically iCloud,
Cloud storage, Dropbox, Google Drive, Clipboard, Bookshare, Evernote, Pocket button, Instapaper button, Gutenberg button, SamNet, My Newspaper button.
Now that's one that I have
Actions
added.
available.
That is a specific website address that I have added, because that's where I pull in some of my podcasts.
Eyes on Success button.
That's another one that I
Actions
briefly
available.
added just so I could download a couple of episodes from there. And if I scroll
Rows
down a
2
little
to 12.
more,
Eyes on Success. Add website button.
I can add another specific website. So if I know, let's say, this is great for like if you do, the reason you're like, why would you download a podcast into VoiceStream? The reason I do it that way is because if I want to listen to a podcast on my phone or on my tablet, Overcast is pretty good. I don't really like, Downcast was okay, but I think I like Overcast a little bit better. But the audio quality just isn't like, for especially like I said, for people who like to speed up the audio like I do. They just don't quite cut it. The audio just doesn't quite sound as good. And you can, you could speed it up in Voice Dream before, but with 4.0, I'll demo this for you. You can get the audio to go stupid fast. So it goes up. It used to be at like 2x. Now you can get up to 4x speed, and it is ludicrously fast. I can't even listen to audio at that speed anymore. I can do 3 to 3.5 maybe, but 4 is even a little bit much for me, which is great. But so I can put in like, a site that has regular audio updates in there. Not only can you do it right within the app, but let's say you're reading something in Safari and, maybe you got a huge article or something. Maybe you just want to queue up some stuff for later. Right in Safari, you can share a web page right out to Voice Dream Reader now. The Voice Dream is one of your options. So because you got that third-party add-in support for Safari, you can just zip it right over to Voice Dream, which is actually pretty sweet. So those are some sources that you can do. Let's back out of this.
Close button.
I'll close this.
Close. Add button.
And that's your main screen. Let's go up to add.
Add button.
In the upper left.
Add document. Heading.
Oh no, actually let's not go up to add. We weren't done exploring settings. Let's go into settings because there's a couple of things I want to show you.
Manage my voices button.
Manage voices. Now, originally I bought a couple of extra voices. You do get one free voice with the purchase of the app. Now, in the old version, if you're upgrading, you still have the Heather voice by default. If you're buying it new, starting with 4.0 now, you get the choice of one. You can kind of, when you start the app, you're prompted to download the voice. And with 4.0, you can actually choose, if you're a new user, you can actually choose one free voice. So you're not just restricted to Heather. So that you get it, based on the language that you choose, you can download a free voice. So that's kind of cool. You have a little bit of choice right up front what you might want to do.
Manage my voices.
I'm going to go to manage my voices.
Manage my voices. Heading.
And I've added a lot. I only had 2 or 3 before. But now also in iOS 9, Alex is available as a reading voice. So if you like Alex, if you're used to reading things on a Mac, or if you like the way he reads web pages or emails or whatever, yeah, you can use him in Voice Dream now. But I have a whole bunch. I have like 1 or 2 Ivona that I've had, and then I bought a few a cappella voices. It's been so long since I've looked at the list that, there's just so many. There's like, American English, British English, Australian English, just all kinds of interesting stuff, and all other languages as well. So with this little pop-up here.
Heather. Lisa button. Rona Scottish. Sharon button. Rona Scottish but Sally button. Hugh button. James preferred button.
So James is my preferred. That's a NeoSpeech voice that is actually really natural sounding. I really like the way he sounds. On the bottom here of this pop-up here.
Restore button.
Restore. So if I'm downloading this app on a new device, I can restore the purchases that I've already made and then have access to them.
Selected English button.
English.
1 2 all button. 2
or I
2.
can see all voices. So if I want to, if I'm bilingual or if I want to have a voice in another language, I can do that.
Shop button.
Let's go to the shop.
Add voices language button.
Because I do want to show you now on the shop here.
Selected
on the bottom
all button. Popular button. Selected
I can show
button.
all of them.
1 of 3 popular button.
Popular.
2 of 3 latest button. 3
or
of 3
latest voices. So if he adds a new voice or 2 or 3, you can actually see which ones are added, and it's actually really, really kind of handy. That was pretty handy this afternoon, actually, when I was exploring this. Let's just do so what's nice is all these voices, before you buy them, you can listen to like 15, 20-second sample. Let's find one here.
New. Liam, child, bullet a cappella.
Okay, let's see what Liam sounds like.
Play sample. New.
Oops.
Liam, new. Liam, new. Play sample button.
Wait.
New. Liam, child, play sample.
Okay, play sample.
Play sample alert.
Hi, my name is Liam. Mommy, I want to go to the zoo. Blimey, that's a cute koala.
Okay. That's actually
I
pretty...
think he makes me sleepy. Just kidding.
Add voices.
Okay.
Play sample button.
So, yeah, actually, that's pretty expressive, actually. That would be really good for, the child voice, I think, would actually, help relate to kids in school and stuff like that. But, yeah, they're getting to be some pretty... There's a couple little hiccups where you could tell it was synthesized, but the overall quality is not too bad. Let's try another one.
Play new. Olivia, child, bullet acapella.
Now, let's not
Play
do a
sample.
child. Let's do...
Bullet Ivona. Play sample button. Russell, bullet Ivona. Russell, bullet Ivona. Popular. Play sample. Popular. English, United Kingdom.
Let's
Heading.
see.
Popular. Amy, bullet Ivona. By $4.09. Play sample button.
Let's do that.
Play sample alert.
Hi, I'm Amy, one of the Ivona text-to-speech voices created using Bright Voice technology. I can speak English with a British accent. Use my voice to listen to web pages and articles, create voiceovers, and make your work and leisure reading more efficient and enjoyable.
That's pretty good. That's not too bad if you want a British nanny or something,
Add voices. Play sample
British
button.
lady. There's a couple other ones that I just have to show you because I didn't even know they were out there until I looked earlier today, and they just make me laugh. There's one or two that I actually kind of want to buy, even though they're really dumb, and I don't know when I would really ever use these, but I have to show you.
Rose 10,
Let's
Rose
go
18,
way
Rose 20,
down.
Rose
I
30,
think
Rose
it's
30,
toward
Rose
the
50,
very
Rose 50,
bottom.
Rose 50, Rose 56 to 62 of 62.
So 62 voices. There's a lot of voices you can sample and choose from. You got male voices, female voices, different accents, adults, children. Now this is pretty funny. If we go
Rose
up
49 to play sample, but Will, bullet acapella.
Now, when I tried Will earlier today, the plain Will voice, it actually didn't work. Let's try it one more time.
Will, bullet play sample button. Play sample alert. Add voices.
So that one, for some reason, I'll have to report that actually to Winston. A little bug I just found today. The Will voice, the sample isn't working. But now, the Will voice, he has a whole bunch of other variants of his voice. And some of them are actually really weird. Let's go down to the next one.
New. Will, bad guy, bullet acapella.
Will, bad guy. This one I'm damn near tempted to buy because it's just hilarious.
Play sample button. Play sample.
Hello, I am Will, an expressive voice here to give a special mood to your written content. Today I am a bad guy, but that may change. To hear all the different will I can be, either happy, sad, whispering or speaking out loud, as an old man, a bad guy or a creature. Check out the Will All Moods voice sample.
That
voices.
was
Play
pretty
sample
funny.
button.
And just, I'm curious what he sounds like sped up. He reminds me of, God, what does he remind me of? I had it just a second ago. But it just, I love it. It's just kind of this weird, he reminds me of the Star Wars Emperor. He's like, come to the dark side. He just kind of has that Emperor tone of voice to him. I love it. Let's check out a different one because these are just too funny to pass up.
New. Will, bad guy, bullet. New. Will, from afar, bullet acapella.
That one I don't really care for, but there's a couple other
Rose
ones I want to
56
show
to
you.
62. New. Will, old man, bullet acapella. New. Will, little creature, bullet acapella.
This is funny.
Play sample button.
Speaking of Star Wars,
Play sample alert.
Hello, I am Will, an expressive voice here to give a special mood to your written content.
Yoda,
Today
anyone?
I am a little creature, but that may change.
Creature?
To
Yes.
hear all the different will I can be, either happy, sad, whispering or speaking out loud, as an old man, a bad guy, or a
Cancel.
Yeah,
button.
okay,
Cancel.
I got it. That's pretty great, though. It kind of reminds me of a mix between a goblin and Yoda. That's pretty great. Kind of dumb, but pretty great.
Play sample but new. Will, little creature. New. Will, old man, bullet acapella. Play sample.
This
button.
one's kind of amusing too.
Play sample.
Hello, I am Will, an expressive
a little more
voice here
jerky.
to give a special mood to your written content. Today I am an old man, but that may change. To hear all the difference will I can be. Either
Cancel
happy.
button. Cancel. Add
If you-
voices. Play sample.
That one sounds a little bit jerkier, not quite as smooth. But I almost wonder, like that one has this like magical quality to him. Like I could almost see reading Harry Potter with that guy in a way.
New. Will, sad, bullet acapella.
Yeah, that one's okay, but
New. Will, up close, bullet acapella. New. Will, old man, bullet acapella.
yeah, I
Rose
think
56 New. Will, up close, bullet acapella.
yeah, that one's just kind of like a whispering one. So those are just some kind of goofy ones. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of really good, high quality regular voices, but I had to show you those variants of Will because the bad guy and the creature were just amusing, and the old man was kind of funny too. But I had to show you those.
Close button.
So
Close.
that's another thing.
Add button.
Is not only do the voices work with all of your devices that you have this Voice Dream Reader, but they also carry across to any of his other suite of apps. So Writer and Mail, they also work there. So I have a book queued up. Let's go into Now Reading.
Now reading button. Now reading. Home button.
And before I do a quick read, I'm going to have him read one of the short articles, one of the short episodes of BOFH. That way you get a little story time and you actually hear something read. And I have it set to a British voice for this because it is a British written author and setting. So it kind of works. But I'm going to show you that. But before I do, I'm just going to run through because there's a little bit more different on this screen. And I'm not going to go into full detail, otherwise we'll be here forever. But I mean, just the amount of detail and the amount of thought that's in this app is great.
Home button.
So I can go Home,
Action button.
Action,
Reading settings button.
Reading Settings. I don't
Action
remember what's
button.
under Action.
Action heading. Export original file.
Okay, exporting.
Export all text. Export highlights. Share. Print. Edit.
So if I have a AirPrint printer, I can do that.
Reading settings
Let's
button.
go into Reading Settings.
Reading settings heading. Reading mode button.
I can change a reading mode. So there's a few different reading modes. There's a new reading mode where I can move my finger over a word. It's kind of like for somebody who is learning to read. Instead of having a set speed, when you hit the play button, you can just slide your finger over, kind of like if you were using VoiceOver, and you were sliding over word by word, and you were trying to sound it out, as you were trying to learn to read, that kind of a thing. But there's all kinds of different reading modes.
Timer button.
You have a sleep timer.
Advanced settings button.
Advanced settings. We're not even going to go into there, but I'll just tell you that there's a sneak
Close
peek
button.
for there. So
Close.
those are some
Home
settings in
button.
the upper left of your reading window, and then in the upper right,
Audio settings button. Adjustable.
audio
Swipe
settings.
up or down to adjust speed. Swipe
I
up.
can either double tap on this to bring up my whole audio settings, or let's say that I know all I want to do is adjust speed. I can touch to put focus on the audio settings and just swipe up or down to quickly decrease or increase the speed. So that's a really nice, handy feature. I use this all the time, especially when demoing, because I like it fast, but when I show it to other people, they're like, "You're insane! I can't understand a word you just said." But let's go into audio settings really quick.
Audio settings heading. Speech rate default.
So there's your
340 words per
speech.
minute. Adjustable. Swipe language English button.
Of course, your language
Voice
chooser,
hue button.
voice, and I have Hue set. This is one of the British English voices.
Pronunciation dictionary button.
You can actually use a pronunciation dictionary, which I won't go into, but just suffice it to say you can do it.
Manage my voices button.
Manage my voices. We've already been there.
Add voices button.
And add voices. So if you want to add more, okay? We'll back out of that.
Visual settings.
Visual
button.
settings.
Visual settings.
Again,
heading.
these are in the upper right of the screen, and these are only when you're in a book. So I can
Font and spacing button.
adjust font and spacing to make it easier to read for a low vision user. I can change the font, I can change the size, all that kind of stuff. I have different modes.
Colors.
So color mode, I can do
Light button. 1 of 3.
a white background.
Selected. Dark button.
There's
2
my
of 3.
dark.
Custom button.
And then
3
I
of
can
3.
do a custom, so you can even customize it to, even more detail if you want to.
Color settings button.
Color settings.
Color settings button. Speech cursor button.
So you can also change like the highlight color as it's reading. You see the line of text there where there's like the dark black line, and then at the end, kind of toward the middle, there's the, what is it on the word is? It's blue. So you can change those different highlights. You have a line highlight and a word highlight, and that's especially useful for like low vision or dyslexic users who are really needing to follow along as it's reading.
Highlight style.
So I can do
Selected on text button. 1. Select scrolling.
So, I mean, there's all kinds of just customization. I'm not going to go through all the options, but I mean, like I said, there's just tons here. A lot of them are, have been pulled over from the, or have been, they were in the older version. I think there's a couple new ones here, though. Now, on the bottom here, there's one called
Pac-Man mode. Switch button off.
Pac-Man mode.
Double tap to
No, it's
toggle
not
setting.
a video game. I was like, what the heck is Pac-Man mode? Basically, what it does, this is actually for, I guess, dyslexic readers. They did a study or something, and they did some tests, and actually, to make people concentrate better and actually keep moving forward, if you check this box, when you hit play, as it's reading, what has been read actually disappears. So as you're reading forward, you can't, just fixate on, one area. You have to keep moving forward visually. Otherwise, the text is going to disappear as it's being read aloud by the text-to-speech. So it's kind of a neat little thing. Not something I would use, but like I said, I mean, that's something I guess that's worked really well for some dyslexic users. So those are your visual settings.
Add bookmark button.
Of course, add bookmark. That sounds pretty self-explanatory. And then you can go to bookmarks. So that's all across the top. Then on the bottom, you've got your
Headings, bookmarks, and highlights button.
headings, bookmarks, and highlights. So if I'm in a Bookshare book or a Daisy book or anything that's marked up, maybe a PDF file with a table of contents, if it's marked up right, I can jump to different sections. There's a way to go to page. There's all kinds of stuff there. So that's how I get around to jump around the book or the file.
Previous item button.
Previous item, so that'll take me to the previous book or file.
Select text. Starting with is. Swipe up or down to move the selection by word, or swipe with 3 fingers to move by sentence. Double tap to proceed button.
Now, I haven't really used this a whole lot, but I've tried it once or twice, but you can select text, which is pretty cool. I kind of like the way he does the selecting text. It actually works pretty well.
Navigate play button.
You got your play
adjustable.
pause.
Swipe up to rewind and swipe down to fast forward. Swipe up.
And then just like Alex said, basically when you're on the play button, you can quickly rewind or fast forward. And there is a setting to where you can set the increment. Actually, I think it's just to the right here.
Navigation unit, 30 seconds, adjustable.
30 seconds. So you can adjust how far do you want it to rewind or fast forward when you do that.
Next item
And
button.
of course, you're next. Finally, in the lower right, you got
Search button.
your search. If you want to search your text, you've got that capability too. So I'm just going to let it play. I'm going to let you read or listen to one of the first stories. This is like from 1995, so some of the content might be a little old, but it's really funny. BOFH, or the Bastard Operator from Hell, is basically, if you're a tech person, think about like anything that you've kind of, like if you're in a help desk role and stuff like that, where if you have to deal with like just annoying users and stuff, and like you just, oh, would you quit asking me these questions? Or like, I can't take it anymore. It's like everything that you've ever thought about wanting to do to somebody but couldn't because it's either like mean or illegal or whatever. This guy pretty much does that in these stories. So let's just play the first story, and you can kind of you can listen to one of the voices, and you can get a little humor. So
Play button.
here we go.
Adjustable.
Back. So I'm in my office again, reconfiguring the router when the phone rings.
Oh,
Somehow
you
I
know
knew
what?
this was going to
Hold
happen.
on.
Pause
Obviously going to
button.
Let's pause. I'll slow it down for you. I forgot I didn't. So
Audio settings
I go
button.
to audio.
Adjustable. 320 words per minute. 280 words per minute.
Let's try 280. Let's
1%.
Now
80
I can also
items.
read this with voiceover too if I really wanted to, but we're gonna go Uh-huh.
80 hyphens. 80 hyphens.
Come on.
0.1%. Straining against the the bastard operator from hell is back. Ellipsis. 0.3%.
Okay, so we're going to start here.
Play button.
And here you go.
Adjustable.
The bastard operator from hell is back. So I'm in my office again, reconfiguring
Audio set
the router when the phone
words per
rings.
minute.
Somehow I knew this was going to happen. I'm obviously going to have to change my number and operator yet again. I pick it up. Start talking. Is this the network engineer? Sigh. Yes it is, I say, resigned to my fate. I check the phone, there's no corresponding name on caller ID, which can only mean one thing. You're new here aren't you? I ask. Yeah, how did you know? Lucky guess. Tell me, how did you get my number? Oh, I just called the help desk. How helpful of them anyway. I was just ringing to tell you that you've got a problem with the network. No, I answer, no problems here. You do have a problem, I can't get my PC to work. Let's just look at this logically, I say. You can't get your PC to work, so I have a problem. With the network, yes. It's probably a loose connector somewhere. Of all the things that really piss me off, the loose connector and loose wire theories top the queue. He obviously thinks that my day consists of sitting in a comms room somewhere wiggling loose wires to improve network services. Or that I designed the network by calling up a cable supplier and ordering several drums of Cat5 and asking for it to be scattered about the building in a spiderweb shape. Next thing I know he'll be telling me that maybe one of the bulbs burned out on my FDDI ring. Hey, maybe one of the bulbs a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. No, it's not that. You've kicked out your patch cable, I say. I can't have. He backpedals. You've kicked out your patch cable. No, all the wires are securely plugged into the back of my PC. You've kicked out your patch cable. And they all go to the box in the flow. Oh, hey. I kicked out the patch cable. Of course you did. It happens all the time. It's because the twisted pairs in your cable get tangled, shortening the effective length of the cable. It's just like the telephone cord when it gets tangled. Oh right. I think I read something about that he burbles. What a plonker. Is there anything I can do to stop it? Well, all you need to do is unplug it from the floor socket and give the cable a really hard yank. Then all the twisted pairs come into line. But won't that damage my machine? Heck no. The connector at the other end is made to pop out when a strain might damage the cable. Okay, here goes. Crash. Hey. I pulled my machine onto the floor and a board's ripped out of the back of it. Oh well, you obviously pulled too hard, I say calmly. What am I going to do? It's my first day. I don't know, I reply. It sounds to me like a hardware problem. I'm just a network engineer, but... I hang up. It's time to have stern words with the help desk. First step, into the comms room to wiggle the wires around and drop out their network. Step 2, set their call forwarding so all their calls go through to the boss. I pick a floor at random and remote boot both the main and redundant routers. Request lines are now open. Scan seconds later I hear the boss's phone ringing. I'll give the boss about 10 minutes of irate users, then wander around and suggest the help desk staff need a lesson on what's funny and what's not. Forwarding your phone to the boss at network failure isn't funny. Help desk personnel investigating the job market is. My thoughts are interrupted by a call on the red bat phone. It's obviously the boss. Is this the network engineer? It certainly is. How can I be of help? I crawl. Ah, you've got a problem with your network. Have we? Grease. Yeah, I guess it's probably a loose wire somewhere, sigh. He'll have to go the bastard trips up. So what
Okay,
else?
so there's your first story. They just get crazier and weirder from there. I have several years of this. There is actually not all of them. I know there was a volume 1 and a volume 2, but I can't find volume 1 on Amazon. There's the BOFH Omnibus. I have part 2 in Kindle form. I don't know why part 1 isn't there currently, but yeah, you can just look him up on the internet and you can actually download or you can read a lot of these episodes. I think they appeared in, what was it, a computer magazine Network Week or something like that. But yeah, so that's just a kind of a quick demo of, British English voice. Let's go back to our
home button.
Home, or our main library.
Button.
Remember in the top middle where I said the title bar was early on, here is where they moved like your folder navigation. So if I
Filter. BOFH
filter
button.
I'm in my BOFH folder. I'm going to double tap that.
Filter. Heading.
Now I have all kinds of choices for filtering. I can
All items.
All items.
Flagged.
Flagged if I want to draw, kind of draw attention to one or a few files.
Unread.
Unread.
By source button.
By source, so if I grabbed them from the internet or Dropbox or Bookshare, whatever, I can do that.
By folder button.
I want by folder.
Folders. Add button.
And I can add a new folder here. I'm given the option if I want to. Or
no folder.
I can just say if there's just some loose files.
Bookshare.
I've got
Actions
my Bookshare
available.
folder.
Selected. BOFH.
There's my BOFH.
Actions of podcasts.
Podcasts.
Actions of MISC. Actions available. Dismiss pop-up.
And then
MISC.
I have, if I were to flick right some more.
Harry Potter.
There's my Harry
Actions
Potter.
available. SSB. Teaching in today's inclusive classroom. Tech and gaming. NVDA. Sword of Truth.
So I have a
Actions
whole
available.
bunch of folders in here.
Rows 2 to rows
Let's
1
go
to
up
5
to the
of 34.
Bookshare folder.
Bookshare.
Because I'll show you one more
Add button.
one more voice, and then I'll show you kind of how the syncing works, because I have not loaded the book that I was reading on the way home on my iPad. So theoretically, if I were to go into my first book here,
The Circle. Dave Eggers.
The Circle, which I highly recommend you read. If you like technology and you want to be scared to death of like a possible future that is actually pretty plausible, basically The Circle is a book that's like, what if Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, and whatever just merged together to form this like just super giant, crazy, like not just social network, but like everything, managing your social network, your payments, your ID, your everything. It's a crazy book, and it's pretty good. I'm actually starting to read it again. Let's go into it.
The Circle. Dave Eggers.
And yes, I'm looking
button.
at the progress bar on the bottom, and it looks like, yes, I have not gone to my iPad to read this since I did it with my phone earlier, and it's picked right up, so I can hit play.
Play button. Adjust.
Called the Queen of the colony. She cajoled Francis into her car,
Oh.
and they left for San Francisco.
Okay, so let's not do that. Let's go.
Heading. Chapter. Title. The Circle. Audio settings button. Adjust.
Let's
Audio
change
settings.
voice, and we'll
Heading.
slow her down a little bit.
Voice. Cue button.
Let's choose.
Audio
Let's do a
settings,
female
back
voice
button.
this time.
Lisa button.
Sure.
Sharon button.
Yeah.
Lisa.
Let's do
button.
Lisa.
Dismiss pop-up.
Why not? Okay, we'll do that.
Home.
And
button.
then we
audio
will-
settings. But 320 words per minute.
Oh, and it actually kept my reading speed for that book too. I had it up at 460 words a minute.
300 words per minute. 280
So
words
let's
per
just say
minute.
280.
Play button.
Francisco. You know where we are going? He asked. I don't. What are you doing? He was typing furiously into his phone. I'm just telling everyone I'm not coming. Finished. Yes. He dropped his phone. Good. Let's drink first.
Pause.
So there
button.
you go. We're reading another book, and it honored the iCloud stuff perfectly. I'll show you really quickly the voice that I typically
Audio
like,
settings.
that
button.
James that I had
Adjustable.
set preferred.
Audio settings. Heading.
Oh, wait, no, I don't want. I want.
Home. Audio settings. Button.
Wait, yeah, I
Adjustable.
do.
Swipe up or down to audio settings. Speech rate. Document specific. Lang. Speech. Voice. Lisa.
I want.
Button. Voice. Lisa. Button.
I want.
Audio
I
settings.
want.
iOS Alex. James. Button.
Let's do James.
Dismiss pop-up.
This is the voice that I
Home.
like.
Button. Play. Button. Adjust.
So they parked downtown and found a restaurant that looked so terrible, with faded and unappetizing pictures of the food taped haphazardly to the windows, that they figured it might be cheap. They were right, and they ate curry and drank singa and sat in bamboo chairs that squealed and strained to stay erect. Somewhere toward the end.
All right, so there you go. It's just a really good, clear sounding voice. It's actually a Neo speech voice, which I quite like. So there you go. That is kind of a look at reading with Voice Dream Reader. However, I do want to show you how it handles audio files because, as I said before, the old version used to speed it up to, 2x or something, or maybe 3? New. Now,
Home. Accept. Decline.
no, we're not gonna...
Home. Button.
No, I will call you back after we're doing this video. Sorry, I didn't put it on Do Not Disturb. So, let's go back to our
Home. Button. New. Time travelers never die. 6
and
hours.
let's go to
35
our
minute filter.
folders
Bookshare.
again.
Filter. Head by folder. Button.
And we're going to go to my
Folders.
podcast
Podcasts.
folder.
Action.
And I have a whole
Add
bunch
button.
of CSUN podcasts from Blind Bargains and cool blind tech. So we're just going to start playing one of them, and then I'm going to speed up the audio, and I will show you just how fast. And it's actually still sounds clear. That's the thing. It does, you know. Remember when I talked about like the Audible app and different things where you sped it up and it had this really compressed, tinny sound to it? It doesn't really sound that bad, and actually it still sounds pretty dang good. So let's just choose
160,329 Google.
Actually,
New
this one is pretty...
160,327 audio games with Ian Hamilton.
Yeah, so I've listened
About
to this one already. I just haven't deleted it yet.
Home button.
We're going to play this.
Play button. Adjustable.
The blind bargains knows I play video games.
This is normal speed.
Perhaps too many video games, and been a
Audio settings
Ranger
button.
station there.
Adjustable.
Now I'm going to
Swipe
speed
up or
him
down
up.
to adjust speed. Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value.
One of the things that was happening is Ian gave a talk on game accessibility, and I wanted
That's
to have
still
an
not as
opportunity
fast as it
to
goes.
talk about this.
I think that's as fast as we can go.
Audio settings button. Adjustable.
I can't understand every word. I might be able to get every other word or every third word. There's about 300%.
This is kind of a shame for Nintendo because they're so focused on reaching underserved audiences. They're so focused on like young, old, and kind of a bit of a blind spot for any kind of disability.
So I can actually kind of understand that still. Between, like I said, between 275 and 350, depending on what I'm listening to. You know, some podcasts or some sources are better than others. If it's one person talking at a time, I can generally go a little bit faster. But if it's like a podcast where people are talking over each other and kind of interrupting each other, then it makes it a lot more difficult, and I got to slow her down a notch or two. But so if you are one of the blind and visually impaired users, I know there's a lot of us that love to speed up their audio, be it text-to-speech or human spoken audio, whatever. You can do it in this app, and you can go really fast. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm sure there's little things that I've missed covering in this updated kind of tour of Voice Dream Reader 4.0, but I had to cover this app just because, like I said, I've covered it ages ago. It was one of my first iOS accessible app spotlight videos. But with the significant update, and I just want to, like I said, I've had a lot of new people subscribe to the channel and view videos on the channel. So if you are unfamiliar with this book, if you have a Bookshare membership, if you want to be able to read any, like a lot of kind of documents, Word documents, PDF files, audio files, DAISY files, God knows what else, text files, you can do all that with Voice Dream Reader. I know Bookshare has its own, its own app, which is, okay. I used it for a while, but honestly, since I've started with Voice Dream Reader, I have not even really looked back. It's a fantastic app. It is, like I said, for a little while longer, it's $10, but soon it's going to go up to 15, and even upping the price, it's absolutely worth every penny. Do yourself a favor if you love to read or just need to be able to read, be it for school or just for recreation or whatever, buy this app because it's really, really good. Like I said, shout out to Winston again for keep making this app better. I love the dark mode. I love the cloud sync. Those are my two favorite features of this update. And it sounds like he's just going to keep going and keep adding to it. Like every time, like I said it right away in the video, I said every time I think the app isn't going to get better, he finds a way to make it so. So who knows what crazy stuff we might see in the future. But that is a look at Voice Dream Reader 4.0, kind of a tour of that app. I would say go to the App Store. It is available for iOS. I don't know if the Android app is being updated at the same time. I know Voice Dream is available for Android, but I don't know as far as I don't know if that version is as up to date, because he's probably updates that a little bit separately. But all of the iOS apps, Reader, Writer, and Mail, do have updates as of now. And especially, like I said, I would definitely highly recommend them. So, hope you guys enjoyed it, found it helpful, entertaining, whatever. And thanks for subscribing. And they said seeing a lot of new subscribers and stuff. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH 79. And until next time, I will talk to you guys again later.